Hey everyone, it's Bobby. I wanted to share with you my newest design team project for Country Craft Creations. Excuse me. This is the Authentique Pleasant Paper Collection, and I'm going to call it my 3-in-1 project because it is an album within an album in a box. I did make a mistake, however, and I'll point that out to you so you don't do the same thing. My magnets are on the top here, and it kept it from closing real tight. Plus, another thing I needed to do was trim just a little bit off of these side panels so that when they tuck under and this wraps over, it has more leeway. So I put this big bow up here to help kind of camouflage that. So the box opens like this, and I kept this very simple just because it's a tight fit as it is. Then these two sides open out, and you have the first album there. This is Tamara's pocket. She calls it the lay flat pocket, and it does exactly that. It lays flat. Let me find a piece of well, here, I'll use this. I'll pull this insert out. It has a pocket here, and a pocket here, and it lays completely flat, as you can see. Really easy to make, and there is a tutorial following this walkthrough, and I'll show you how she makes her pocket. Then on this side panel that folds up, you have two pockets with these pull-outs, and I left them blank on the middle, on the inside, for photos or journaling, and they just have the cardstock on them. This one is the same way, and there's room here for all kinds of embellishments, photos, journaling, whatever you might want to do with that spot. And here's the other one. They're all blank on the inside. And then the other side is just a mirror image of that. It's, let me see if I'm in frame there. Can't really see that very well, can you? There's another lay flat pocket here. Yeah, same thing as on the other side. And then we have two pull-outs here. So this would be your first album in the box. And then the second album is in this pocket on the back. And this one is just made of chipboard. This is another design that Tamara came up with, and I was made it the other night with one of her live tutorials. If you guys aren't a part of that, you should check it out. You'll have to join Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations if you're not already a member of that, and then you can watch her tutorials. She has them on Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesdays at 11, and she has the whole schedule posted. So the cover, this is all made of cardstock, and I just have one of the punch-out, well, actually two of the punch-outs, and I backed this one with the yellow and then a brown scallop. This is just a piece of burlap I had in my stash. This is from the collection. And then when you open it, I have the old-timey truck in here. This is a pocket in here. And it opens this way. Let me see if I'm getting all of this. Let me zoom out just a teeny. There, you should be able to see most of it that way. This page opens this way. There's a pocket here, and then it opens like that. It has a magnet, and there's another identical page here. And I don't have any inserts in it yet. Pocket here, tuck spot, and then that. And then on this side, you have this little page and this little page for really nice spreads. So it folds up that way, this way, and this way. And that is the album. And it fits perfectly in that pocket. Well, I would get it over that little edge. There it goes. Slides right in there, and I'll tie that back up. Then this folds up this way. And this way. And this way. And this way. But you see how this kind of rides up in the air, and that's what I didn't account for that. And if I had cut these side panels off just a little bit, and I'll show you real quick, I made a smaller version in black. I haven't decorated it yet. I'll give you the measurements and everything in another tutorial, but you can see it does lay flat if you do it right. This, I don't have any magnets holding this. I'm there. So it opens this way. I haven't finished this one, but I had to prove to myself that it would work. And this is all artisan cardstock, and then I have a little tiny album that's going to be in here. So that will be another one. But it did work, and it lays flat. All I had were the small magnets. So that's how this one should lay flat like that. And that's my fault. I didn't even think about cutting these down. I should have taken like maybe a 1/16 of an inch or just a hair off of these edges so that it gave more room for this to wrap over. So that is my tutorial. I still think it turned out beautiful. I love the colors. The paper was easy to work with. It's just beautiful paper. And I did use like this stripe is the Spectrum papers. The Spectrum papers from Authentique, and they're gorgeous. Multiple colors, and they're all striped on one side and polka dotted on the reverse. But they're just beautiful. Okay, that is my project. I hope you enjoy it. If you want the tutorial, stay tuned, and it will follow detailed instructions on how to make this box and the album. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye. Hello, everyone. It's Bobby. Today I'm going to start the tutorial for Country Craft Creations on the album design that I've decided to use for my November project. And this is going to be a different take on an album in a box. I have thought this one out in my head, and let's hope it comes together like I have it imagined. So what I have planned is I'm going to use the brown artisan cardstock, and then I'm going to use what Tamara sent me was the Pleasant Collection from Authentique. And I have cut my card, and I will show you by the time this is all posted, you will have the cut guide printed. Okay, this is 2 sheets of brown cardstock, and they're cut at 8.5 by 12. Yep, 8.5 by 12. And I have marked just with a pencil in this ruler. If you lay this black line right along the edge, that'll give you 1 inch. And I just put a pencil line down one side and across the top and the bottom, just so I'll get them straight, because I am somewhat challenged that way. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue along the top of this one. I don't want much of an overlap, and there will probably, excuse me, probably be a little bit of excess to cut off at the end. But I just want to barely overlap it, like so. Where's my dry baby wipes, so I don't have any glue spewing out. Okay. I don't know how many of you have used the score tape sheets. I really like them because often when you use wet glue to put down your card chipboard, can't get the word to come out. As you put your glue on your pieces, there's going to be areas that the glue doesn't really go down good, and then you have dry spots, and when you go over it to burnish it, you can hear it popping and snapping, and it doesn't give you near the smooth coverage that the score tape sheets do, because they cover side to side. I want to make sure I wipe these off. I put the score tape on them last night because we have dogs. I want to make sure there's no doggy hair on there. So I'm going to take the score tape sheets off, and you'll have the cut guide for these. There is a total of, oh, that's not done right. There's a total of 9 pieces of chipboard to make this box, and it took 2 full 12 by 12 sheets of chipboard to cut this out. Now this one is the 4.5 by 6.5, and what I did was I measured in 3/4 of an inch on one end and just cut it down even with the 6.5 on the other end, so that it would make this shape. And I want it to be even with this line and right up to that, without getting my head in the video if I can. Oops, don't move it too far. Over a little bit more. Okay, about like so. There we go. That should be good and straight. That will be part of the lid. Then normally we do a 1/4 inch for our gussets or our spacers, and I think this is 1/8 and maybe 1/4. Yeah, this is a 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and use this for my spacer, and I hope it's not too much space. I want this to close up really tight like a box normally would close. I don't want there to be big gaps. Cut this. There. Okay. Then the next piece you'll have will be your 3-inch piece, 3 by 6.5. Let me get this off. There's that. Got the sniffles a little bit here this morning. Okay, now this is going to go right up to the score tape, and even with this pencil line. And another piece of the score tape. Alright, now we need the 6.5 by 6.5 inch piece. And line it up again. Doesn't matter which way you put this down because it's a square, 6.5 by 6.5. So that goes on there, and there's your seam right in the middle of that. So that'll be fine. Okay, one more piece of the score tape. too high. Yeah. There we go. And you're seeing this in real time. It's the first time I've ever put it together, so we're going to figure it out. And if it don't work, then I'll scrap it and we'll start over. And if I make a mistake, you're going to see it. And sometimes that's the best way to learn is if I make a mistake, I'm the one wasting paper, you're not. But let's hope I don't waste paper. I don't like to do that. Okay, and there's another 3-inch piece. And then we're going to put down our last piece, which is that same shape but just a little bit smaller. And I left quite a bit of overhang where the two top pieces come together so that I can have plenty of room for a magnet. I had made a prototype out of some old cardstock that I had on hand, and I didn't leave enough of an overhang so it wasn't really conducive to a magnet, and I want to make sure I have a good strong magnet on here so that we have a nice closure. So this is the same thing. The only difference is this one measures 3 1/4 by 6 1/2. And it's going to be cut the same way, measured in 3/4 of an inch on 2 corners and then cut on the diagonal from corner to tick mark. And then this one is going to go right here. Right up to the line. See, we're just a little bit off the inch there, so we're good. So I'm not going to worry about cutting any off there. Okay, so now what we need to do is get our edges folded. And because I don't have a lot of room here, this is not going to be an easy chore. And I want to get nice, good burnish here on these edges. So I just roll it over, and I do my albums the same way that Tamara does hers. There's a lot of different ways to do your covers, and you can certainly do whatever is most comfortable for you, but I really like this way of doing it, and it gives such a nice square edge to all your corners. So just roll it under, burnish it really good. Now we've got these long edges. Let me move some stuff out of the way because I just don't have enough space here. That's how I'm challenged space to work in. Okay. So let's do the straight edges. Be these 3 center pieces. Just need these 3 center pieces in here to lay nice and flat. It's kind of awkward because then we've got those angled pieces. We'll get there. Okay. I probably should have snipped those before I did this, but I'll do it in just a second. Make it a little bit easier. Yeah, it would have made it easier. But we'll get it. Okay, so let's go back. If I'd have done this first, it probably would have been easier. Let's snip it right between here. And just take out a little bit of an angle. Oh, just poke myself. Not too smart. Alright, now we want to curl this edge over and fold it over. And I want to make sure I leave enough so that I don't have any chipboard showing. Yep, that's a nice edge right there. Okay, we'll do the same thing down here. Just take out a little bit of a wedge so that it lays flat. Edge there. I think that looks like I want it to. I'm not going all the way to the pencil line because I don't want it to be a gap in there. I'm going to bring this right up as tight as we can bring it. And the same way on this end. Too much out there, I hope not. Okay, as you can see, I don't have a lot of space here. Okay, there's that. And then this will make sure that goes in there tight so we don't have a gap. Okay, and let's go back to our corners here. And we're going to cut, I know you can't see what I'm doing, we're going to cut on this fold line and this fold line so that we have a squared edge. And the same way on the other corner. Okay, now let's take these two out. I'm not cutting them really right definitely on the line because, like I said, I haven't made this particular piece before and I'd rather leave too much. I can always come back and trim it off. But if I take too much the first time, I'm sunk. I don't want to do that. And let's take this out. Okay. So let's see how this is going to look. This should fold in here, and we can always trim some of this off. And then this will fold down over. And these will fold in. And we will have our inside piece. I'm going to turn it over and burnish it again now that it'll lay flat. is not doing exactly what I want it to. Okay, see how this one looks. See right here, I've got some I can trim off. You can see it kind of sticking over the edge. See, when you hold it out this way, you can see it if you put your scissors right along there. You can see you've got some to cut off. And this one looks pretty good. And this one. Right there. Need a bit. Okay. So now we can take these little score tape strips out of the center and we can glue this down. Whoops. Got caught under the chipboard, I guess. Goodness, got it a little tight there. See if this little thing will pick it out of there. My grandson gave me this little tool. Yeah, that's what I did. I got the chipboard too tight. End up putting some glue down in there because I can't get a hold of it. I'll use some glue. I can't get a hold of it. That's my fault. I just got it too tight. Got most of that one out anyway. To watch that in the future. And that works. See if I can do it down here. Got an edge. Okay, got some more of it out. There it comes. Persevere, right? Okay. This one's got a little trim to be done there. Okay. Okay, so the next step then is to glue all these down so that we can put our centerpiece in. Okay. I like to use a little bit of the glue right along the cardstock. That way you don't have a dry spot in there. It seals it right, well, come on, right down to the cardstock, to the chipboard, I mean. And it may look like I'm using a ton of glue, but really I'm not. It's a very thin little strip of glue. This fine tip thing controls how much comes out. Get in there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to fold this up. And burnish it really, really good. Be sure you press it down into that score tape. do the other long side.
Go ahead.
Alright, glue or pen. Couldn't seem to hit the little spot there to get it back in there. Okay. There's this long side. Okay, there's those. Now, I'm just going to wing it on these and take a little bit off. I think we need all that much in there. I just want to make sure that lines up good. That side looks really good. That'll fill up that little gap there. Okay, we'll do the other side. I need a bigger workspace. But right now I don't have. Lucky to have what I got. Do you ever feel that way? Be thankful for the blessings that you have. Alright, wait a minute here. There we go. Let me give this a little pinch in here. And let's put a little bit on this end. I used to use that tool that it's kind of yellow orangey color that where you cut your pages, your corners like that. But I don't feel like I really need it anymore. Okay, so this is going to be the top of your box. And this will come up this way and it will overlap. A small piece overlaps the top. Anyway, that's the general premise of the whole thing. I just saw a piece of paper sticking out here. There it is. that I don't need here. There we go. This one's the same way. Thought I checked all these. But this one has a little bit right there. Okay. They did the pins over there. Okay, let's cut just a little bit out here where the big ones go. This one doesn't have as much excess as the other end because it was longer. Okay. I'm just trimming off this little excess up here. Okay. Run this up under my tripod and then maybe you can see better. Okay, here goes this one. Okay, now make sure you pull it up tight so you get a nice even flow from this joint to that joint. There's still a little nub of paper on there I don't want. There we go. Okay, now let's do this side. Okay guys, I had to replace batteries in the camera. So now we're ready for the two side pieces. I was in the process of gluing this second piece down when the batteries ran out. So we have this, and all of this will be covered with chipboard, or cardstock, sorry. So we need to do our side pieces. And those are, there's two pieces on each side. And we will have the large piece, which is 6.5 by 5.5. Goes this way. And then we'll have the 3-inch piece here. Well, that's not going to leave very much to attach. I might better move this up just a little bit, hadn't I? That'd be better like that. I'll have to leave just a little bit less than an inch up there. And then we'll have the large piece here and a 3-inch here. And I'll move those up just a little bit. And we'll have the 1/4-inch spacer on each one. And I'll glue these down the same way as I did the others, the other pieces. And then I will come back and I will show you how we put all this together. But I want to try to keep the video as short as possible because it's going to get pretty lengthy as it is. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I've got these two pieces wrapped, and what I had intended to do was to put them underneath to have a seamless look, but when I do that, I don't like the outcome. In order to have a gap, or not have a gap, see, when I bring these pieces up, it leaves, well, not too bad, but it does leave a little bit of a gap here at the sides. And if I put it on top, then you have two pieces of card there, and I don't like that either. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it up underneath and make whatever adjustment I have to make it flush, because I don't want there to be an opening at the bottom. You know, I don't want there to be gaps. I want it to close up like a finished box. So I'm going to put some glue on here. And I hope you can hear my voice. It's still not real strong, but it's getting better every day. So let's go ahead and put it underneath and match cardstock to cardstock. And you just want a tiny bit and bring up your sides and push it in until you feel like it matches good with your corners, because you don't want a big gap down here at the bottom. That's what I'm most concerned about. I don't want there to be a big gap there. I want it to make a square box. See, I'm getting a little bit of a gap there. I don't like that. Okay, let's see what we've got. A little bit of a gap, kids. And I'm not liking it. I'm going to take it loose. See if I can get it closer. I'm going to put it right up to the chipboard instead of... Let's see if that works better. That makes it a little bit tighter. It's still got a little bit of a gap. I'm going to put it inside. I just don't like it like that. I'm sorry. I just don't feel like it looks professional. Let me wipe this glue off because it can be covered later. I'll fix it. We're going to have designer paper on there anyway. So let's put it on the inside. And we can always do a finishing strip on the outside. Told you if I didn't like anything, you're just going to see it in real time. Well, you just saw that one. I didn't like it. Okay, so we're going to turn this under, and we're going to line it up with our edges. Cardstock to cardstock. And make sure it is even with the cardstock here, so you get a good square. That's on there good and tight. Now I've got glue on there. That's okay, it's all going to be covered. So let's see how our corners look like that. A little bit of a gap, but not bad. Not as much as before. Just a little bit. That's because this is out too far. Move it in a little bit. I want it to be right or not at all. Glue there. Much better. Just oops, got glue on there. I have to hold that for just a second. Okay, it's going to be better. Get glue on me now. Yep. Okay. Okay, got a little nub there. Round it out a little bit. Okay, that'll work. I don't know what that is. A little piece of paper. Better. Okay, so there's that one. Now we can put the other one on. But they have to go on top now. So we're going to put that one. Okay, so let's fold this down. And here we go, getting glue all over my fingers again. That's alright. Right along the edges. Match this up. I know I'm going to get my head right in the shot. Make sure everything's lined up. Getting glue off my fingers on there. Bone folder. So these will go in like that. This is the bottom. So we'll get these to line up with our magnets. I'm hoping. We'll get our magnets to hold those sides in square. Okay, let's decide our magnet placement. Put these 6x6 pads in here to make it square. So I've got a foundation to put my magnets on. That has to be 6.5 by 6.5. It's got to be square. And that is 6.5 perfect. Magnet time. Okay. Positive and a negative. How far is this going to overlap? Quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to put this one right here. If you'll come off of there, we will. Now, get it to 6.5. stick down. Alright, let me get it to 6.5. See if that looks right almost. Okay, perfectly 6.5. I'll make sure your top and bottom are lined up. That should do that. Oops, there they go, 6.5. Okay, now this is the top piece and this is the bottom. So we want to bring this up this way. Got two negatives, let me get another positive. Okay. Let's get these together. Let's bring the large one up. That is the bottom. And we're going to put our magnet right here. This one to go. Uh-oh. That's going to be down too far. How much overhang do I have? That's going to go like that. Okay, let me put this right there. Oh gosh, I'm going to put it down farther so I've got room. That'll still. Yeah, I did okay. You're going to have to kind of pinch it together because you want your cuts to line up here. There we go. Want it to stick good. Oh, it didn't stick good. Slide it apart. That works. Okay. We've got our magnets on. Get these papers out of here. Okay. So now we've got the basic of our album put together. Or the box. That is how it's going to be. I like that. Very nice. Although I think I'm going to need more magnet than that. I have to add more magnet to it, but I like it. Okay, the next thing we will do is cut our papers for the inside. And what I will do is I'll cut a piece to go in here and just overlap about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch in here, and then I'll piece this. And I'll come back with you with the measurements. I have to get all the measurements, everything, because like I said, we're making this in real time, and I have to get all my measurements and get everything together so I can tell you what I did, because I haven't done anything yet. Okay, I will be back with you soon, and I'll have all this posted for you before you get started. Alright, thanks guys. Okay, I am back with you. I glued these 2 side pieces on like I told you, and they're cut at 6 3/8 by 10, and they're just rectangle shapes, and then pressed into the gusset there. Lord, I need more space to work, I'm telling you. Okay, now for these long pieces, what I did on this side is I laid it right where I want it, with just about 1/8 of an inch up here at the top. Then center it, and you can see where your cardstock is at this bend. Just put a little tick mark there and here, and then one right up here along the, just inside the edge, and just inside this edge. And then take your paper trimmer and just match up this mark with this mark in your trimmer. Sure I got it right. Over just a little bit. And slice it off. I might need to trim down a little bit farther on that one, I think. But I can probably do it with scissors. And then turn it around and do the same thing on this side. Match up your 2 tick marks. And slice it off. And that should give you just what you need. This one goes up here. Let's see how this is going to lay. This side can have just a little bit more off. Didn't go down quite far enough. Right there. I'm not getting it matched up for some reason. There we go. That ought to be better. Catch it with the scissors right here. Okay. Okay. That is just perfect. So I'll glue this one down and this one down, and then we'll have our box made. And I've got my hinges, so they'll close like this. This one will wrap over the top, and then we'll be ready to do our hinges and start building some pages. Okay, so this will be just the first part of the video. There's much more to go, so stick around. We'll get this all put together. It's going to be gorgeous. Alright guys, see you in a bit. Okay guys, this is where we left off. I have glued down my flat pieces on the inside, and it's just a matter of measuring and deciding whether you want an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, a 1/16 inch of border. Just cut your pieces and glue them down, whatever papers you want to use. What I wanted to show you is the lay flat pocket that Tamara makes. It is so cute and easy to make, and I'm going to put one on each of these flaps here. So I glued down this red stripe. This is a Spectrum paper from Country Craft Creations. So what she does is she takes, you cut a strip the width of your page. And mine is just a little bit shy because I wanted the red to show around the edges just a little bit. So it's just a little bit less than 6 1/4. And she cuts hers at 11. I left mine at 12 because I wanted this fold down in the front that I could put a punch border on. So you'll put it in your scoreboard and you'll score at 4 and 9 and 11. And this one folds to the inside like this. Roxy's making a lot of noise tonight. This one folds up. And this one folds down. And then I just used a Martha Stewart punch that I had in my stash for this little border. Then you'll need another piece of your brown cardstock or whichever one you're using. Also cut the same width, and I believe it's either 3 or 4. Let me measure it. 3. It's 3 inches, and it's going to glue down in here. But before you do that, we want to put our papers on. So the first piece is going to be this polka dot. It's going to go. Did I cut it too long? I think I did. That's alright. So it's not going to show anyway. I'll trim it off as soon as my glue dries. Let me turn it over to burnish it so I don't get glue all over the place. Okay, because I don't want that to, well, it doesn't make any difference if it does glue it shut because I'm not going to have a side pocket, so I'll go ahead and just burnish it down. You can leave either one of these sides open if you want to have a pocket in here. I'm not going to have a side pocket. I'm going to leave this loose at the top so I have a pocket there. That way you'll have 1, 2, 3 pockets in here, and it lays completely flat. It doesn't give a lot of excess bulk to your book, which is the whole idea. So let's put just a tad of glue right in this little opening so I can seal it shut. And then we'll put a little bit on this side too. Right there. And we'll just seal those down. Then we need our 3-inch piece. And I'm going to put the yellow stripe on that. This is another one of the Spectrum papers. They're striped on one side and polka dots on the other. I think I'll use the polka dots. Oh, you know what? It's alright. I'll use the polka dot since we got the stripe in the background. Okay, so we'll put this one down, just leaving a little narrow border. And it doesn't have to cover all the way because it's going to be hidden by this bottom flap. Okay, so we just want to glue the sides. And maybe just a little bit across the bottom to seal it up. So we're going to push this all the way down in here, matching up our sides. Yeah, just like that. And then we want to close up these two sides. And have a little bit more over here. I hope I'm in frame while I'm gluing this, so y'all can see what I'm doing. I get to working along here and forget. And then this little piece is going to go under that flap. After we get all our pockets and our hinges and stuff in, then we'll come back and we'll embellish everything. Okay. And this is going to go up under here. Leave a little border on both sides and at the bottom. Just a little hint of the brown. And I've just lightly inked the edges of the papers with Distress Ink Vintage Photo and this little tool from Tim Holtz. And just a tad of glue on here so we can seal this down. And to put it on here, we just want to put, oh, I didn't get enough glue in here, did I? That one's still popping open. Don't get glue on there. And move it over here. That. Didn't look like I put enough glue on either side. Probably should have glued it before I folded it over. And it's always fixable. There we go. Make sure I don't have any glue seeping out. Okay, so now we want to put glue around 3 sides. We want to put it just shy of the bottom, just a little bit. So you get a small border at the bottom and on each side of the red. Okay. Okay, and I'll have the link to her video where she does this for her Meadows album in the description box, so you can follow along with her if you want to see just exactly how she did it. Oh, darn it. There we go. Okay, so that is her lay flat pocket, and you will have, let me find a scrap piece of paper here. You'll have a pocket here, and a pocket here, and this one's pretty wide, so you can get a nice insert in there. We'll have our hinges here, which we'll make next, and then there's going to be a box in here that will hold a small mini album. And then we get across to this side, it'll be a repeat of this. So that's what I wanted to show you this evening. I will be back shortly. We'll make the hinges and this little box. and then we'll be ready to move on with some embellishments and decorating the outside. Alright, thanks guys. Be back soon. Okay, the next thing we want to do on this folio or album is make our little pocket that goes inside of the back cover. This is just a piece of lightweight cardstock I had in my stash that I don't even use other than maybe for a template or something. Since I discovered artisan cardstock that Tamara carries, I don't use this for albums at all anymore. But I wanted to show you how I scored it and cut it. So this piece is 10 1/4 by 6. And we're going to score at 1 inch with the 10 1/4 at the top. And, oh, I did, see, I'm so used to 1/2 inch, I did a 1/2 inch. 1 inch and 2 inches. We'll just ignore that 1/2 inch. A lot of it's going to be cut away anyway. Then we're going to turn it one time. And we're going to score again at 1 inch and 2 inches. The third time on the short side again at 1 inch and 2 inches. And then on the fourth side, we're just going to score 1 inch. Okay, now let's get rid of this scoreboard. And the scissors right here. Okay, down at the bottom where we've got all of these, we want to cut out. It's going to look like this when we're done. So we want to cut away this one, and this one. So the 3 bottom corners, we're going to cut up to the first score line here and try to cut into your score line so you get rid of that little bubble that it makes. So there's that cut out. And ignore that 1/2 inch score that I did. It didn't belong there anyway. Nobody's going to see it. So we're going to take those 3 out. We're going to continue up here to this next score line and just slightly taper this. We don't want to take a lot out because we want to keep a nice square corner. We'll do the same thing over here, all the way up to the second score line. I'm going to take these out. And take this one off. And then we'll taper this one like we did the other side, just lightly. Just a teeny tiny. And you see I didn't cut this one straight. I'm somewhat challenged that way. Okay, now up here at the top we want to take the 2 corners out. Now if you don't want to have this piece here a punched edge, you can just skip this all together and cut it at 5 inches instead of 6. There's that. So we want that one out. And we want this one out. Not straight again. So that's what we've got. Let me get my junk out of here. Okay. Get my little tails off of there. So that's what we get. That I won't use because it's real flimsy cardstock. Okay, so on the back side I've just cut out 7/8 inch strips of lightweight chipboard, and this actually came off the back of one of your paper pads. If you save those, you can use those for lightweight albums, boxes, and stuff. Just makes for good support. So we want to score and burn. Let me get rid of this here. So I got some room to work. Just move it over here. Okay. So we want to burnish on all of these fold lines, score lines. Get a good sharp crease. So make a nice box, and I've got the pieces, the pieces cut out for it. Make sure this is straight with this edge. If you just lay your scissors along the edge, you can make sure it's straight. Your edge will be your guide. Okay, now let's fold these two pieces up. And the last one. Okay, now my little tabs that are going to make the box. And there's a little nub right there I don't want. Okay, so this will fold in like this to make your box, like that. But we want to put our papers down before we get in there, like that. We want to put our papers on the outside before we glue it together. It just makes it easier when it's flat. Okay. So I've got my pieces cut out. These are 7/8 and wide and just shy of 6 long, so they'll fit in that spot. This is for the inside. Then we've got 2 for the outside, 2 for the inside, and this short piece I'm going to put here because I didn't have enough of this paper. But once I fold this down, it isn't going to show anyway, and I'll save the longer piece for the inside. I just want to do the inside so that when the insert is taken out of the box, it won't look so blah. It'll be more finished looking. So we're going to glue this piece down. Put it just shy of our score lines. I want it this way. And then this one will glue down over it, seeing it won't show. So let's put a little bit of glue on there. And just a little dot up here. Well, come on. Well, okay, that should do it. Just so that it lays flat. And a little bit, I didn't get enough in there. Just a hint. It's hard to get it along that punched edge. baby wipes. There we go. Okay, now let's put this one down. Make sure I'm in frame here. Over here. And one more sharp one. Okay, now we can put the box together. So these two are going to go to the inside like so. And this will make your box like that. And then we'll paper the inside, just these three here and this one where it shows. So let's put some glue on here. Oops. Get a nice square corner. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. See how nice it matches up there. Now, you can glue this one to the bottom. Right in here. Little short pieces. Well, goodness. More. See it in there. can put that right down inside. Put it right over the chipboard. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to take just a little bitty snip off of this. And off of this one just to make a nice corner. Let's put some glue down on here. And we're going to square this up with a clothespin. And we'll do the same thing to this side. Should have put that other piece in there. I'm thinking about it, but it'll slide in there, hopefully. A nice square corner. Yep. And a clothespin. And we'll let those dry. And this will go in here to finish that off. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Make sure I don't have any glue seeping out. Okay, so there's your box. Like that. And I'll bring this back in. Show you on Workspace, kids. Okay. And I might want to put two more. I don't know if I will or not. I might. We're going to glue this down. Okay, and I want it just above and just inside of that line, so we make sure we're away from our edge. Make sure these sides are straight. And we're just going to hold it in place for a few seconds. Give it a good burnish. Okay, and that's going to be our box. Now, I had wanted to put a hinge here, And I still may, but it's going to have to be not a huge hinge because, see, once I put this together, how much space am I going to have? Well, I've got a little that fits right inside there. I'm going to have, let me put my ruler in here. I'm going to have a little 2 inches, a little shy of 2 inches. So I could put a hinge in there, but it would have to be a small one. Could get a couple extra pockets in there that way. And then this, of course, comes up this way. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Let me figure out what I'm going to do with this side hinge, and then I'll get back with you on that part. Alright, thanks guys. Bye. Okay, the next thing we need to do is make our hinges. Now I've got 2 pieces, or I already did one, and I'll show you. This is how your hinge is going to turn out with just 2 hinges on it. It's 6 1/4 long. I'm not sure how wide I need it to be, so we're going to make the first score mark at 3/4 of an inch. And I'll cut off what I don't need. 3/4 and at 1. And then we're going to score every 1/2 inch. This will make 1 hinge. And our gusset. 2 more score lines will make a hinge. And then we need it at 1/4 again, so that's 3 3/4. And 4 1/2 gives me 3/4 on that end. Okay, so let me cut this off. So the total thing we needed was 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. So I'm just going to cut it off with my scissors. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Now we want to score on, this one is going to go under. The first one on each side, the 3/4 inch is going to be on each end. Is going to turn under. This is what's going to give our hinge stability so it doesn't have to wrap over the gusset to the next page. Okay, now we're going to take these 3 and we're going to pinch in the middle of them. Like that. And bring this back out. Line up your edges, make sure it's nice and straight, and then you want to burnish that down. That is going to be hinge number 1. So we're going to bring it up this way. You want to stand it up and fold it both directions and burnish it really good. And then fold it back on that 1/4 inch. That just gives you a little spacer for the first one. Now this is your space between the 2 hinges. So we're going to go to this next one and pinch it together. And we're going to do the same thing. Burnish it really good on both sides. And make sure that's laying straight. To the left and the right, so that it goes back and forth when we get it in our book and we want to turn our pages. It'll function like we want it to. Okay. Now we're going to turn to the back. where you see this valley, we're going to put glue in there. Again, I'm still using the art glitter glue. Doesn't mean it has glitter in it. It's just the name of it. And we're going to burnish that down so we get a nice, good seal. And we'll do the same thing to the other one. Let me burnish that again. Burnish it this way. Make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, so now glue in this one. Okay, so we're going to pinch that one together. Make sure I don't have any glue sticking out there. There's a little. Let's take it back the other way. Okay, so there's our two hinges. Okay, now we're going to take our glue, and from the 1/4 inch out, this 3/4 inch overhang that we left, we're going to glue that towards the back. Oops. So this is going to go to the back. This makes your hinges that much stronger. It gives you that 1/4 inch. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side, to the other 3/4 inch. I'm going to add glue to that. I love this way of making your hinges because when I first started doing this, it wrapped over to your other side of your album cover. And if you later discovered that you had something that didn't match up or that wasn't to your particular liking, you had to tear the whole thing out. This way you don't, because it doesn't wrap over to your next page. Okay, so that should take care of that. Now we've got hinge 1 and hinge 2. And it's perfectly straight, and this will glue down to your book, and it's really, really strong. Okay, let me put my pen back. Clean that tip off. Okay. Now let's bring the book back. Okay, now when you tip this up, get it to stay where I want it to, you will see, because of the box in there, there's not a whole lot of room for a hinge, but I wanted a couple pages in there for tags, so I'm just going to mount this in here, about maybe a 1/4 inch away from the front of the side piece. That way we can add a couple of, and then my album will sit in that box, and that way it won't bump it. So, what am I doing? Oh, the magnet picked up a pin. Okay, so let's fasten these hinges down. And you're only going to have a very small amount at the top and the bottom. And maybe, let me see how much this is. 1/4 inch. Just a 1/4 inch off of that seam where the side piece and the the side piece and the fold over come together. I don't know what you want to call them all. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. And you want to make sure you get plenty of glue on here so this little turkey stays where you want it. Just about 1/4 of an inch with a tiny bit at the top and the bottom showing. Just like that. Can you all see it? Just right there. Okay, let me move this so I can do the other one. And we'll put the other hinge down. And then we're going to make some pockets. There'll be 2 pockets on each side. And I've already started working on the little album that goes in this box. So it'll end up being an album in a box. Something a little bit different. Okay, about 1/4 inch away with a smidge at the top and the bottom. Let's see what that looks like. Clearing that good. And it's clearing that good. Okay. So that's what we want. You know what? I think this is a little bit crooked. There. I like that better. Okay, so there's our hinges. Okay, so now I need to make my pockets, and I haven't decided exactly what I want to do with those, but let me show you from the top view. And I am going to put some yellow strips in there to cover that back piece. I don't like that showing, but that's how it's going to be on the inside. And there'll be plenty of room once we put 2 pockets on each side, and then it'll clear that book. So that's how it's going to look. Okay? Alright, I'll be back with you shortly, and we'll make our little pockets that go on there. Alright? Okay, now we're ready to make our pockets for those side hinges. And what you're going to need is 4 pieces of 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. But on the 6 1/4 side, which is the length here, you're going to want to take off just a hair off of this piece, the flat piece. Just a hair, so that it lays nice and flush under here without puckering. Otherwise, see, this will pucker if it's too tight. So you need 4 pieces, 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then just shave maybe a 1/16 off of the 6 1/4 side. And then you'll need 4 pieces that are 7 1/4 by 4 1/4, and you're going to score all of those at a half on both short sides. So when you put your 6 1/4 or 7 1/4 at the top, you're going to score the short side, flip it around, and scored a 1/2 inch on the other short side. Then I went ahead and glued my papers down so that I could punch them before I put it together. And I just used this hexagon punch, and I just put it part of the way in, punched it, and that's my little tab spot. So these 2, this one I have the back glued onto, and I need a little piece in there, you know, just to make it pretty. And then these will tuck inside. So we're going to glue this down on both sides. And I didn't taper the top at all. I don't think. I didn't really feel like it needed it. Hope I didn't make a mistake there, but alright. So let's put this in here. Get your top flush and make sure it's fitting between your score lines, and then press it down on both sides and burnish it real good. That is your pocket. Cool, huh? Okay, so that's for one side. Let's go ahead and glue the other two down. And we'll put these in the book, and we can always embellish and make the tags later. For these pockets, you can do tags, you can do photo mats, you can do cut-aparts, just whatever your heart desires. And I'm going to leave that up to you guys so that you're not sitting here watching me not watching me make inserts and tags and all of that, because I'm sure you've all made plenty of tags and photo mats that you don't need my instruction on that. Okay, this needs to be scooted over just a hair, and make sure it's even at the top. You can always use your tabletop for that. Fold this down and burnish it real good. That one might be a little bit poochy maybe. No, I guess it's okay. I don't want them to be all poochy. And see, that leaves it open at the bottom to sit on your hinge. Okay, one more to go. Glue ball keeps wanting to tip over. Might be a little bit heavy on one side. Okay, we good. That one. And this one. Okay. So those are going to go this way in the album. Grab it. I just don't have tons of working space here. Let me tuck this up under my tripod so I got some room. Maybe you guys can see what I'm doing. And then after this, we need to do the outside covers. And I'm already putting together a little album for this box, and it's not a tutorial I can show you because that's one of Tammy's designs. So I'm going to leave that up to her to do a tutorial on that. But you do need to be, she does already have a tutorial on it, but it's part of Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, something she designed for the group, and you have to be a member to get it. So if you're not already on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, you'll want to do that, because she has 3 live tutorials every week, and just awesome ideas. A lot of them are really quick tutorials. Super for gifts. Okay, you're going to set this down on your hinge. Make sure you don't have any glue. Now when we go back and we paper this, it's going to be just fine. And see, it's laying kind of, but when we close the album, it's going to be like this. So it'll be fine. So now we'll glue this one. I love this paper. This is the authentic, what was it called? It's not called Heritage. What's it called? Hold Hold on a minute and I'll tell you. Sometimes I just go brain dead. Tell you. Can't think. Oh, Pleasant, that's what it's called. I knew it was a P and I kept wanting to say primitive and I knew that wasn't right. Okay. Now let's make sure this lines up with that one, and it does. Now we'll paper the back side of this, and we'll put a little strip in this gusset here, and we'll add a piece in here to finish it off. And it'll be beautimous. Beautimous. So there's that one. And this one. Make sure we're nice and flush. Okay, there's those two. So I've got some papering left to do, but it's no biggie. We'll get through it pretty quick. Let me see if I can get this down far enough where you can see the other side, and we'll put them on. Okay, ouch. This one goes, I like to put the back ones on first so that when I lay the front one down, I have a good visual of whether it matches or not. Alright, now, what is going on here? We'll wipe this tip off. Got a little glob on the tip. Okay. There we go. Coming out a little more free. And on the other side, so this one is going to sit over that one. Press it together. Good. Oops, better get some glue first, hadn't I? Ain't gonna stay on there with that glue. I think I might have to take my little fine tip off and run it under some warm water. It's getting kind of thick in there. I don't want it to stop up on me. Okay, there's that. I'll sit it right over that hinge again. Make sure we're lined up. Looks good to me. Okay guys, that's how we put our hinges in. Now let's see what it looks like from the top with the flaps in it. Oh, we still got plenty of room. See that? We've still got plenty of room in there. Okay, I'm liking this, guys. Liking it a lot. Alright, I will be back. We'll do our embellishments. There's only one thing I'm not crazy about on this, and I'll show that to you. Well, I can just tell you right now, because I've got my magnets on the top. That was my mistake. And another thing is, I should have shaved just a hair off these side pieces. Excuse me, so that when I tuck them in, it allowed this to lay down flatter. But what I'm going to do to camouflage that is make a embellishment for the top that'll kind of hide this gap there. But other than that, I love the project. But that's just another learning thing that you have to figure out for yourself. And I should have picked up on it, but I didn't. It's my own fault. But it's still a pretty album, very workable and usable. Alright, I will talk to you soon. We'll get this, the outside done, and then I'll let you go on your own to do all your tags and inserts and embellishments. Alright, I'll be back shortly. Bye.